Let's start our live session. Hello guys, I'm Dmitro. I'm Hacking and Trust Army Web3 analyst. Here at Trust Army, we work to make the best interactive place for users to learn how to make a proper DYOR. Our platform helps users to get all the important knowledge about crypto, metrics, tools, and how to use it. So we actually building something like an academy where a regular user can master new analytical skills, do some practice, and even earn some tokens by successfully completing the tasks. Also, at the same time, I work directly at Hacken, which is Web3 security company that provides almost every possible service in terms of project security in the cryptocurrency industry. So let's talk about our today's agenda. Um, Actually, in the format of live sessions, you and I will have 3 meetings where we will be able to discuss the DYOR in great detail. During our first meeting today, I would like to talk to you about the DYOR concept, its importance and meaning in today's digital world. We will talk about why it is really important to have your own opinion about a project before investing in it, why you should not listen to influencers, or why you should check their words about official sources of information collection. And of course, we will talk about benefits of tools and information aggregators. So I would like to first introduce you the topic, and at the end, I will be happy to answer all your questions, if any. So let's finally talk about the DYOR concept. What is it and why do we actually need it? For those who don't know, DYOR is an abbreviation for do your own research. And this concept is very important in terms of project analysis, investment decision making, and general understanding of our cryptocurrency industry. Melissa, could you please change the slide? Thanks. The last bull run showed us that for some reason, people make investment decisions based on the words they heard from their friends, bloggers, or influencers, not understanding at the same time that everyone actually pursues their own interests. And this is exactly where the YR is crucial. So, why is it bad to listen to bloggers or influencers? I don't really want to raise the issue now that quite often they fill tokens of those projects with which they are in partnership or in other way receive referral bonuses. Now I just want to talk about the fact that you are actually entrusting your hard-earned money some people who you don't really know and whose competence you can't understand. But that's actually okay. Psychologically, we are arranged in a such way that is much easier for us to put the responsibility for our decisions someone else. But if we're talking about investments, then it definitely doesn't work like that here. Because only we are responsible for our funds and what will happen to them. After all, there is no one to blame when we invest in a shitcoin that can drop by 99%. So it is because all of these things that is very important to have an understanding of how this market is organized, and it is very important to be able to check the reliability of this or that project with your own hands. So this is what the concept of DYOR exists for. This is about development of your skills and responsibility for your decisions which are made on the basis of quality research and analysis. Actually, when I participate in various live sessions, I very often hear from beginners that what I'm talking about is difficult to master with zero level of understanding of cryptocurrency. But in reality, it is not so at all. At Hacken, we designed this course so that anyone can acquire a specific skill set that will give you a basic understanding of project quality. And this is exactly the DYOR that every cryptocurrency market participant should master. Melissa, next slide, please. Yeah, thanks. Here at Hacken, we researching the scam market, and I can definitely say that as our industry evolves, various scam projects and tokens are developing and improving at the same time. Previously, all this was much easier to see, to detect, and to bypass due to the fact that there were much less money on the market, and scammers could not afford the expensive development of the site, token, and generally acceptable design of their project. Now everyone has become smarter and more accurate. Malicious cryptocurrency projects are very careful about the organization of their product. They develop a beautiful site, come up with a story for their project, and in some cases even pass security audits for security companies in order to attract and convince as many people as possible for their reliability. However, some red flags always remain, and you and I will definitely talk about them at the next meetings. Well, we will talk about them a little bit at the end of this meeting, but uh, in general. Now I just want to explain to you that with development of the cryptocurrency industry, attackers are also developing, and we simply cannot afford not to improve the depth of our knowledge basis, because will very likely lead us to losing our funds. We live in a such period that conducting your own research is necessary not only to make an investment decision, but also in order not to get scammed. The most common types of scams you may encounter at the entry level are rug pulls and exit scams. Rug pulls are a type of fraud when developers take all liquidity from exchanges and you have no way to physically sell tokens. And exit scams are a slightly broader type of fraud and actions, which can even include the absence of a finished project with a team that has already left it after collecting money from the fundraisers and just disappeared. So exit scams basically means that the team didn't finish their job and just disappeared with all the raised money. So in order not to fall into such projects, you need to know how to evaluate the project. Melissa, next slide, please. This is our project evaluation system. As you can see, Kipet surface DYOR. Before we get to the exact numbers and estimates, I want to say that these all are approximate values. Each case and each success story is individual. Unfortunately, there is no universal formula that will give us the answer to all the questions we want to know. Nevertheless, the things we will talk about now will help you to understand these metrics and qualitatively approach their evaluation in the future. So as you can see here, we have 5 categories that anyone can evaluate and form an opinion about the reliability and potential of investing in a particular project. So here we have capitalization of a project, activity of traders, price performance, development, and engagement inside the community. Now let's take a closer look to each of these points and try to analyze them in detail. First of all, we have here capitalization of a project. As you can see, we have a scale from $1 million to $1 billion. So the main logic here is that the low capitalization of the project very often indicates its immaturity. Most of the times, these kind of projects are really young and they are not always ready to launch. Although we feel that the growth potential of such project can be incredible, such projects can quite often be abandoned by their developers because they run out of funding, or it can be a regular scam project in general. Because usually their capitalization is in the range from $1 to $5 million. Because all of this, of course, a project with such low capitalization cannot have more than 0 points. Then we have the range from 1 to 10 million, and this range already has a score of 1 point. Sometimes it is very rare, but still possible to find a project at a very early stage, the capitalization of which will be close to these values. And of course, it still has huge growth potential, but there's still a lot of risks. The highest grade is in projects with capitalization from 10 to $100 million, as you can see. From what I said earlier, it is clear that such a project is less likely to be fraudulent. It still has good potential for growth, and its team is more likely to be able to finance its project and development and finish their idea. And as you can see, we have two more ranges here, from 100 million to 1 billion and over $1 billion. These values have slightly less points than previous one, and that's just because this kind of projects has not that much growth potential. But it will be fair to talk about risk-reward concept now in terms of capitalization of the project and in terms of evaluation these metrics. Because it's always about risk and reward on the financial markets. The higher risk you're gonna take, the higher reward you will probably will get. And the less risk you're gonna take, the less reward there will be. So when we're talking about the project with that capitalization over $1 billion, it means that this project is already expensive enough, and it is really hard for the team to do something to boost their market capitalization incredibly. That's why it can be more preferable to consider the range from 10 to 100 million, just because there is already can be enough quality and there can be still huge price performance potential. So the next chapter is activity of traders. It actually means trading volume. Trading volumes gives us a lot of information. The fact is that this metric shows us the concentration of interest around the project at the moment. Of course, we cannot take everything at face value due to the fact that 99% of projects use the services of market makers. These are such market participants who make the necessary trading volume on the token, help stabilize its price, or helps with increasing the price or decreasing the price if it is necessary. So as I said, trading volume cannot be directly perceived as the amount of funds that real users have made, but nevertheless, we have some benchmarks that tells us about the approximate level of interest. It is clear why in the picture the trading volume of less than $10,000 has 0 points. This is really a very small number, and if we are talking about at least some user activity, and especially if we include the activity of market makers, so it's definitely a red flag, especially in combination with some other things that we will talk about later. The next range is from $10 to $100,000. In our rating has 1 point. It is already better, but still quite small amount when we're talking about all the acts of buying and selling a token. 3 points for the volume from 100,000 to 1 million, and I completely agree with it because these are the numbers that actually any project can under certain condition and proper management can achieve organically without any manipulations. Next, we have numbers from $1 to $10 million and from $10 million and more. Well, these numbers are really impressive and they can only be justified when we talk about the biggest projects we have in our market. It is also worth understanding that popular tokens that are starting to be traded by traders can also be added to the list of those projects that really organically have at least some chances of reaching these marks. But in most cases, when you see such things, it will mean some kind of manipulation and games of market makers, and this is something you don't want to be a part of. Also, remember that these are all very approximate things because the larger the project's capitalization, the larger the trading volumes we should see. And also, it depends on the general market conditions. If there is a lot of liquidity from the traditional financial markets, this number will probably increase as well. The next thing is price performance. This metric is largely related to the previous one, and many of the things we raised there will be valid here as well. For example, the role of market makers in it. Quite often, the large candles that we see on the charts are the result of the work of these market participants who manipulate ordinary retail investors using their sense of FOMO. This is also an abbreviation for the fear of missed opportunity, a classic way to evoke greed in a person and provoke us to buy a token of any quality. Because let's be honest, when we see the growth of any token by 200 or 300% per day, it gives us a very strange desire to be a part of this growth. But this is all manipulations, and in most cases, such things lead to the loss of our funds. So let's now quickly review our points. Of course, negative performance is interpreted in one way, 0 points, 2 points for the range from 0 to 25%. Actually, it is great performance, but in terms of analysis, our goal is to indicate the trend and money flow. Any market project can gain these numbers at any time or condition. But when we finally start talking about the ranges between 25 and 50% or between 50 and 100%, it becomes obvious that here and now the market is interested in this kind of project. And this is the direction we should look in more specifically. We're not talking about the fact that you need to buy tokens with 100% weekly performance. Instead, we're talking about searching for objective reasons for this. That's why these values have the highest grades. And in the end, we have 1 point for 100% and more weekly performance. It does not necessarily mean that the project is trash or something, but when we see such high performances, we usually find their meme tokens, Ponzi schemes, or something greatly overvalued at the moment. So yeah. The next chapter is development. As you can see, we have 0 points there for 0 commits for the last 6 months. And it means that nobody does anything with this project. And this really indicates it's abandoning. The range from 1 to 10 commits has a pretty high score, which is equal to 3. That is because completely working projects do not need tons of code every day. The developers just need to maintain it or add some new features to the project. The range from 11 to 50 commits with grade 4 for the same reason as the previous one. But when we start looking at the range from 51 to 100, we see only 2 points. That is because it is already more likely that the project is not ready yet and the team is consistently working to make it better. This is not bad at all, but it is much harder to imagine great price performance in this situation. The product must be working. 100 commits and more with only 1 point for the same reason, but it indicates even worse shape of the project at the moment. And last but not least, engagement inside the community. The community is one of the most important components of the project success. Without an audience and users, there is no rapid development of projects. But these numbers will also be very individual due to the fact that this indicator can be qualitatively assessed with simple numbers. As we can see here, here is the rating scale, but many projects wind up their audience. This is the thing that you need to understand and need to be prepared for. So yeah, let's take a look at our scale. So as you can see here, if the project have their main social media platform with under 1,000 users, it means that we can give this project only 0 points. And with the situation when the project has from 1,000 to 5,000 users, it's already equal to 2 points. 4 points for the range from 5,000 to 10,000 users, 3 points for range from 10,000 to 50,000 users, and only 1 point for 50,000 users plus. As I told you before, this scale, the logic of this scale is the next. There are a lot of projects that wind up and buy themselves subscribers, and in such cases, it will not mean anything. Any number you can imagine there will not mean anything. So I recommend, in addition to evaluating these numbers of followers or users, to look at their engagement within the community. Such metrics as likes, comments, views, impressions, reactions, these indicators can be compared with the number of project subscribers and understand how active their audience is. Obviously, in a project with 100,000 followers on Twitter, the post should get at least 1,000 impressions, but quite often you will not see that. You will not see that, and definitely this is also one of the main red flags. So yeah, now we should talk about the specific tools and data aggregators that will help you to collect all this data, because we already know what to do with all these metrics, but we also need to know where we can get them. When you're talking about capitalization of a project, any data aggregators such as CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko should help you a lot with this. When you're talking about activity of traders, data aggregators also has value volumes, daily trading volumes on their platforms as well. When you're talking about price performance, you will most likely need a chart for that. Such tools as TradingView can really help you with this. You will be able to find any token performance you would like to see there, and then you will be able to scale it. When we're talking about development, it's a bit complicated because the only place you can take this information from is from the project's GitHub. Some projects do not have open GitHub repositories. It means that you will not be able to see any actions of or any activities there. But to be honest, in most times you will be able to find open repository, open GitHub for the project you're interested in. Then you will just need to find the main repository of this project and find the inside buttons there. And in insights, you will be able to find all the necessary information about development, contributors, commits, and all other stuff. But we're talking about commits here only. And when we're talking about engagement inside the community, we're talking about interacting with the social networks platforms, such as Twitter, Discord, Telegram, or any other platforms that you can find that exist for this project. And you also can use some specific tools that will help you to understand some more sentiment from the social networks of this project. Such tools as Twitter Scout, such tools as Twitter Score should help you a lot with this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer.
I have a question. The question is, you just mentioned a person looking at whether to make an investment or not, going to GitHub. Now, I know that GitHub is relatively technical, so you're not going to have kind of a general consumer who was interested in crypto or tokens or any of that necessarily wanting to go into GitHub to see if something was legitimate. Is there some way, some site, some area that people can go to get an evaluation of whether a prospect is good or not?
Unfortunately, no, but this is exactly why we need such courses as our DYOR 101 course to teach our users, our audience, our community to navigate themselves through this hard mission. Actually, we provide our users with basic knowledges that can help them navigate themselves through such topics as development. So this is really complicated topic to understand for regular user without any technical background. I completely agree with that. But as you can see, we have here the scale of commits that will be helpful for the user to understand the situation of the development of the particular project. So all you need to do is just to follow this simple instruction. Find the project's GitHub. If it's open, you can find their insights of the main repository, and then you will be able to find all the commits for lifetime history of the project. That's all.
Do you think that's a reasonable answer? But do you think in the future that there may be some tools that become more available so that the market could get broader, more people could come into this market? Because it's very hard to imagine that newbies spending all of this effort and all of this time to try to figure out which projects were real and which projects had a good chance of return, or which were scams. It just is hard to imagine that becoming a big market like the stock market in most places, where you have lots of data, lots of ability to check whether something meets your risk requirement.
So yeah, as you already said, this is not that simple to navigate yourself in the traditional financial markets as stock market. But it also not that easy as people think inside of the crypto market. And yeah, of course, there are some easy metrics that can be easily found by any user, but they will not give you all the picture. And of course, you mentioned that if there were some tools that would help people with such complicated data gathering, it would be great. It would be more accessible for the newbies, and it will probably increase the attempts of the crypto adoption in whole the world. But actually, in our courses, we trying to teach our users to work with official sources only. So working with official sources has a lot of benefits, because you can find all the information by yourself. This is gonna be true information. Nobody will be able to manipulate this data, and you will be able to take the final decision by yourself. This is exactly what the concept of DYOR is, as we've been talking about earlier. This is about personal responsibility. There cannot be personal responsibility if you making your investment decisions based by some data collector tools. They can be perfectly working tools, and different data aggregators, they are awesome. I personally use them every day, but I would not make my final decisions without double checking it by my own hands.
Well, thank you for this amazing presentation. I will also want to make a comment and ask a relative question about the recent things that we've been discussing. And my comments about this, I understand the Mike's question about making these things easier for the regular users. But when I'm considered this type of research with GitHub and checking the repositories and iterations of the projects, the commits, as you said, is necessary for the little bit developed user, let's say the user who understand how the blockchain works, working and making investments on the decentralized exchanges rather than going to either the big crypto things like the Binance or the Coinbase, etc. And I do expect them to eventually learn these, and this is a really great summary of this. However, my question about the understanding the projects, do you still believe that pointing out these titles like the capitalization and activity and etc would be enough security layer for the users, or will there be more efforts to go in deep down?
Yeah, of course, there will be a lot more to master to be able to make your final decision. This concept is only the first step for the beginners. This was developed and created for the beginners only, because as I told you before, there is no universal formula that can help you with answers to all of your questions. And this caped surface DYOR table is just one point of view that was specifically described for the regular user to help the user with really low level of knowledge in cryptocurrency industry, to help him with navigation through the main points that can be really important in terms of project potential performance. And these are some of them. But of course, that is not all. In the next live sessions, we will talk about such things as transactions tracking, such things as working with blockchain explorers, the main source of data you can gather from blockchain. We will talk about project security. We will be talking about project audits, about all the legal stuff every user should know. So of course, this table is not perfect. This is not a universal formula that will help anyone with everything. This is just the first step for beginners to help them to navigate themselves through this hard path of blockchain exploring, mastering.
One more question, if you allow me.
Sure.
So I also believe that there will be some basic users that they don't want to invest so much time to understand the basics of a project, but they might have some money to buy or rent expertise from the companies or the communities like Hacken. Do you believe that alongside with the Trust Army and the DIYOR, Hacken can create a Hacken community forum-like system where users can share their own research about projects in the cryptocurrency, and other high members can either stake some tokens or like give thank you as a reward, where it can be turned to the NFT based rewards or some high rewards at eventually. Such like of do you understand, like a Web3 social media based on the Trust Army and your knowledge of the users from the Hacken community? Do you believe that such a platform can doable, and do you believe that, or do you have any the future projects that is not maybe exactly the same of this type, or related to this much of attitude?
Well, I don't really want to go into too much details about it, but I can tell you that we have this vision in our global plan. That's all I can tell you now about it. But yeah, actually, one of the main reasons of creation Trust Army was to create a great community where people with some expertise will be able to share their vision on different projects. Together in just one place, all the people that are able to take another look, another perspective on the regular things that we all think that we know. But actually, this is not like that 100%, let's say. And of course, we need a lot of people with expertise that will help us to build this community. But we actually want to work with people without expertise, and we want to do everything possible to provide them with one. And we, as Trust Army, are trying to make our best to trying to teach all the people, to teach them all these things. And as a result, get the community highly interested in cryptocurrency, in cryptocurrency aspects community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone left?
I saw a few new people just now join. They're spawning in. If we want to give them another minute, but I know we're towards the end of the session.
I can ask one more question. How often do rug pulls or other kinds of scams on a big scale happen? Is this frequent or is this kind of rare?
It's very frequently. We, as a Web3 security company, working on hex investigations. And what I can tell you is that for the last quarter, there were over 120 hacks in cryptocurrency industry, and over 68% of them were rug pulls. So this is really a huge problem for the market, and people really should. We want to make all possible for people to teach them to avoid these type of schemes.
Are there any governments around the world that are looking at this, or any authorities that are trying to set up kind of a regime to prevent this kind of activity, or is it just like the Wild West?
At the moment, it mostly like a Wild West, but I would tell you that when US citizens are involved in such hackers attack, and when they are losing their money, we can see from time to time that FBI is working on this hack detection.
So do you have any idea on how the overall industry could be made a bit safer to allow for a growth in the number of people coming in and being kind of treated money as safe, kind of risky for volatility, but safer from the point of view of the scams? Is there any prospect of things improving?
There is only one thing we need to do, and this thing is to increase the number of people who can make a proper DYOR. So this is the solution.
Well, I also make a similar comment about this topic. You know, the banking system is here for many years, and there are still phone scammers or website phishing scammers scamming people, and all the legal authorities can advise is to beware about these and just be careful about those. So, and unfortunately, I also believe this thing will be same for the crypto scams too. The authorities will probably say the same again, because you already know the banking system is much more way uh, way known and used system, and they can still prevent the all majority of the things. So maybe way feature where the authorities can ready to detect everything and punish so hard for the scammers, they will eventually give up. But before that, not soon. I also believe that users must be aware about the potential scams and hacks.
Well, I can only tell you that when there is as much money around an industry as there is around cryptocurrency, there will invariably be a lot of scammers.
It is true, and even though in a bad situations around the world, such as earthquakes or floods and everything, there are still bad people trying to scam other like victims of the events too. So I don't believe this will be ending soon or never.
Totally agree with you.
We're just checking for additional questions. Okay, do you want to talk about your next session, Dmitry?
Well, yeah, we can briefly talk about the next one.
A bit of an intro so that to tune in for the next one.
Yeah, the next one will be about the technical part of cryptocurrency industry. We will talk about how to check tokenomics health, how to check token transactions, how to check token supply, how to check project security. And we will talk about all these difficult things in great detail. And we will try to explain all these things to our audience.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. That was great.